Today we're making a honey oatmeal sourdough bread. What a lovely day to bake. Moin, my name is Arne, German hobby baker who's living in Luxembourg. As I have been eating a lot of overnight oats recently, I thought why not make a bread with them? A little honey to sweeten and a flake of butter and you have the most delicious breakfast ever. The oat flakes on the bread are deliciously toasted during the baking and give the bread a certain crunch. So let's get started. This is from Luxembourg with Loaf. The evening before we bake, we cook our porridge. Therefore, we need 20 grams of butter, 50 grams of honey, we need 250 grams of water and 50 grams of oatmeal. First of all, we heat up the butter in a pan or in a pot. And once the butter has been melted, we add the oatmeal to it and roast them a little bit. Then we add the honey and let the honey caramelize a little bit. And then it's time to add the water to the pot as well. And then we cook everything for about 5 minutes until it comes together. And then you can cool it down and put in the fridge overnight. We also prepare our levain, therefore we add 100 grams of flour, 200 grams of water and add around 10 grams of active sourdough. Once everything is mixed, we leave it at room temperature on the countertop. The next day it's time to prepare our main dough, therefore we take our porridge, we need our levain which has more than doubled in size, we need 800 grams of flour as well as 550 grams of water and 17 grams of salt. Then we add the water to the mixer, we leave a little bit on the side for later, we add the flour, and we also add the levain. And then we also add the porridge to the mixer. And then we start the mixer and mix at low speed for about 10 minutes. Once the dough has combined, we add the salt and a little bit of the remaining water and we increase the speed to maximum. Then we mix for about 5 minutes and in these 5 minutes you incorporate the rest of the water. Then we do a window pane test, therefore we wet our hands and check if the gluten of the dough has been developed. And this looks really good. So we can transfer the dough into a greased plastic container and then it will rest for 30 minutes. After 30 minutes we start doing coil folds. Therefore we wet our hands, we pull the dough up and move it over, we rotate the box 180 degrees, do the same thing again, and then rotate the box 90 degrees and pull the dough up and move it over. And then we let the dough rest for about 30 minutes and we do a second set of coil folds. Each time you're doing that, you should feel difference in the gluten structure of that dough. It should stick less and it should keep its shape. 30 minutes later, it's time to do the third set of coil folds. And then we let the dough rest for another 30 minutes and then it's time for the fourth set of coil folds. You can see even in 30 minutes the dough nearly kept its shape. It feels now also a little bit lighter because the fermentation started going. And then we let the dough ferment for about 4 to 5 hours. See, the surface looks quite nice and bubbly. Then we put some flour on the countertop and dump the dough. Then it's time to divide the dough into two parts, or two pieces, because I want to make 2 loaves of bread. And then I take the dough scraper and form these round balls. Here we create a lot of tension to the dough, which we need in a second when we shape the dough into its final shape. Then I'm taking here the top of the plastic container and I add a little bit of oatmeal on top of it, and we use that basically later to roll the loaves into it. And then I'm taking here a plate with some wet kitchen towel or paper, kitchen paper. And this will be used to make the surface of the dough wet so that the oatmeal can stick on it. Then I put a little bit of flour on the loaves. This will help my hands to not stick on top. And then I'm taking the dough scraper and flip the dough upside down into my hands. And then I'm using this nice folding texture where I just squeeze the edges together. I rotate the dough and squeeze the edges together. And this now gets rolled in this wet paper. And then I'm taking them and rolling the loaf onto the oatmeal flakes, and then it's getting transferred into the banneton. I'm repeating that process a second time. So squeeze the edges together. And then transfer the loaf into a banneton. I will now cover the 2 loaves with some plastic wrap, but before I stitch the edges together, this creates some extra tension. And then I will cover them with some plastic wrap and they will be kept into the fridge up until the next day. The next day it's time to bake that loaves. I've preheated the oven to 250 degrees Celsius, that's 482 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm having here my wooden boards. I have some parchment paper, I have a cup or half a cup of boiling water and my scoring blade. And then I will just dump the loaves onto that parchment paper. And then I will score the loaves in a 45 degrees angle with this razor blade. And then I'm sliding the loaves into my preheated oven. I'm using here 2 pizza steels, one on the bottom, one on the top, and then I'm adding the boiling water. This creates a lot of steam, and then they will bake for about 15 minutes. And then it's time to remove the second pizza steel on top, and then I will bake them for 30 minutes at 220 degrees Celsius. That's 428 degrees Fahrenheit for about 30 minutes, and for the last 5 minutes I'm adding here a wooden spoon on the side, which will create an extra crunchy crust. And look at the results. They look pretty amazing. Wow. Sound nice. And after they have been cooling down, it's time to cut the breads. Wow, look at the inside. Pretty nice open crumb. And here are some more impressions. Really like the color. Golden brown. An open ear. And a nice open crumb. You can smell the oats, the honey and the butter. Bon appetit! I hope you enjoyed the video. This bread is an absolute hit at the breakfast table. With its light honey flavor and toasted oat flakes, it tastes great with sweet and savory toppings. This bread is also the perfect sandwich bread if you add a little more water and bake it in the bread pan. What is your go-to breakfast bread? Leave me a comment under the video. If you want to support me and my channel, please like this video, subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss my next videos. Have a great day, Eddie, and goodbye.